Hi, welcome all my dears. Here I am with a new topic, risk management. When you have completed this topic, you will be able to identify the factors putting a project at risk, categorize and prioritize actions for risk elimination or risk containment, quantify the likely effects of risk on project timescales. What is meant by a risk? Several persons define risk in several ways. One such definition of risk, it is an uncertain event or condition that, if it occurs, has a positive or negative effect on a positive objectives. Another definition says that a risk can be defined as the chance of exposure to the adverse consequences of future events. The key elements of a risk follow. It relates to the future. The future is inherently uncertain. Some things which seem obvious when a project is over. Also, it involves cause and effect. Cause and effect. Effect means after effect of a cause. For example, a cost overrun might be identified as a risk. A cost overrun describes some damage but does not say what causes it. An inaccurate estimate of effort, the use of untrained staff, or a poor specification, anything may be the cause of it. Both the cause or hazard, such as inexperienced staff, and a particular type of negative outcome, such as lower productivity, should be defined for each risk. So, we can say that a risk can be considered as an issue, or risk can be considered as a problem. Risk can be either an issue or a problem. Here we are dealing with, or here we are discussing how to manage these risks. That is risk management. How to manage this risk. The major topics to be covered in our risk management are the nature of risk, types of risk, managing risk, hazard identification, hazard analysis, risk planning and control, and at last evaluating risks to the schedule. Here in this current video, we are mainly discussing the first two topics, the nature of risk and types of risk. While considering project evaluation, we already discussed the assessment of the risk of the project which is not delivering the expected benefits. If the project is not delivering the expected benefits, it will be a risk. Then we are concerned with a new type of risk. With the risk of development project is not proceeding according to the plan. If the project is not proceeding according to the activity plan, it is a risk. We are primarily concerned with the risk of the project is running late or over budget. If the project is running late or if the project is over budget, it is also a risk. Identify the steps that can be taken to avoid the risk or minimize the risk. Some risks are more important than others. Whether or not a particular risk is important depends on the nature of the risk, its likely effects on a particular activity, and the criticality of the activity. High risk activities on a project is critical path are a cause for concern. To reduce these dangers, we must ensure that risks are minimized or at least distributed over the project and removed from critical path activities. The risk of an activity is running over time is likely to depend, at least in part, on who is doing or managing it. The evaluation of risk and the allocation of staff and other resources are therefore closely interconnected. For the purpose of identifying and managing those risks that may cause a project to overrun its timescale or budget, it is convenient to identify three various types of risk. First one, those caused by the inherent difficulties of estimation. Inherent difficulties of estimation. They are known as estimation risk or estimation errors. Some activities are harder to estimate than others because of the lack of experience of similar activities or because of the nature of an activity. Producing a set of user manuals is reasonably straightforward, and given that we have carried out similar tasks previously, we should be able to estimate with some degree of accuracy how long it will take and how much it will cost. On the other hand, the time required to program testing and debugging, it will be difficult to predict with a similar degree of accuracy. even if we have written similar programs in the past. Estimation can be improved by analyzing historic data for similar activities and similar systems. Keeping records comparing our original estimates with the final outcome will reveal the type of activities that are difficult to estimate correctly. Then second, those due to assumptions made during the planning process. Assumptions made during the activity planning process. Planning assumptions. At every stage during activity planning, assumptions are made which, if not valid, may put the activity plan at risk. Our activity network, for example, is likely to be built on the assumption of using a particular design methodology, which may be subsequently changed. We generally assume that following coding, a module will be tested and then integrated with others. We might not plan for module testing showing up the need for changes in the original design, but in the event it might happen. Therefore, at each stage in the activity planning process, it is important to list explicitly all of the assumptions that have been made and identify what effects they might have on the plan if they are inappropriate. Third one, those of unforeseen events occurring. Unforeseen events occurring. Eventualities. Some eventualities might never be foreseen, and we can only resign ourselves to the fact that unimaginable things do sometimes happen. They are, however, very rare. The majority of unexpected events can, in fact, be identified. The requirement specification might be altered after some of the modules have been coded. The senior programmer might take maternity leave. The required hardware might not be delivered on time. Such events do happen from time to time, and although the likelihood of any one of them happening during a particular project may be relatively low, they must be considered and planned for. In this current session, we mainly discussed about an introduction about risk management and the nature of risk. The boundary between risk management and normal software project management is hazy. Risk involves cause and effect, staff inexperience, lack of top management commitment, new technology, users uncertain of their requirements may be the causes, and effects will be testing takes longer than planned, planned effort and time for activities exceeded, project scope increases, time delays in getting changes to plans agreed, etc. Risk management is not a self-contained area within the project management. Risk management is considering uncertainty remaining after a plan has been formulated. It is the key role of risk management. Every plan is based on assumptions, and risk management tries to plan for and control the situations where those assumptions become incorrect. Thank you.